Hello, welcome to Viscount Leisure. I'm Charles and I'm going to take you on a tutorial video around this Swift 480 that we've got here, just to make sure that we know how everything operates and how we can attach everything to it and use the caravan properly. We'll start with the door. Okay, it's our way into the caravan. Of course, you can see that's pinned back on its magnet at the moment. All right, so it just pulls off of there when you want to shut the door. Just stops it flapping around in the wind. We have a handle here to get into in and out of our caravan when we're inside. We push the handle all the way up. That will then deadlock the door so people cannot get in from the outside. Other than that, it just works like a normal handle. Clear pane there. Also have a blackout blind for that as well, of course, for when we go in and out of our caravan and we want to black the cabin out. There's our wheel there, okay. In front of that is our motor mover. We'll have a look at that just at the end of the video just to make sure that we know how that operates as well. But of course, we'll go through that with you as well when you pick the van up. 4 corner steadies on each corner of the van, as you can see here. All right, so these are down at the moment to steady the van when it's in position. They're not to be used for leveling. So what we want to do is level our van front to back before, and left to right as well, before we put our steadies down. We do that using our jockey wheel at the front. That gives us our front to back level. Okay, and then potentially, if we need to, we can put wedges underneath our wheels to level the caravan from side to side as well. Once that's done, we then use our winding handle that you'll find in your front locker. Goes in onto the bolt here, wind that down till it touches the floor. All right, and there we are. It will do that on all 4 and will stop us bouncing around inside our caravan. Okay, as I say, don't level with those. It's not designed to take that kind of pressure. You can damage the legs themselves and also the floor of the caravan as well. So it's very important that we make sure we're level before we put those down. All right, so 4 of those, 1 on each corner, and then we are good to go. We have an external gas barbecue point here as well, so you can use a gas barbecue on the outside of your caravan without having to remove a bottle from the front locker. Makes things nice and easy. You need a bulldog, a bullfinch fitting here. Okay, that goes into there. You can buy those at most accessory shops. That then goes onto the onto our caravan and then twists, and that turns on the gas flow into the gas barbecue. All right, you leave that on the end of the hose to your gas barbecue. That way, every time you want to use it, you just go plug that in, and away you go. Look at the hitch here. We'll do a full hitch up with you when you pick the caravan up. Just a couple of things that we do need to know before we pick our caravan up. We're running on 13 pin electrics here. Okay, as you can see, that is going to provide us with our lights on the rear of the caravan. It's also going to provide us power if our car is rigged up for it to the 12-volt system, like our battery charger, and also our fridge that we can use when we're traveling as well. The jockey wheel we've already talked about, but this is our stabilising hitch head. It is an Alco hitch head, so you do need to make sure you have an Alco compatible tow ball. Same size ball, just a slightly different spacing to incorporate the larger hitch head on there, so it doesn't rub on the back of your car. If you're unsure about that, do ask us. We can always advise you on that one, not a problem. If you've got an existing tow ball that you've been using and you have grease on that tow ball, we must make sure we are removing that grease. Okay, it's very important. We've got friction pads inside this hitch head, which stops is an anti-snaking device. Obviously, if we get grease on that, we're going to have no grip on that, and it's not going to be effective at all. Saying that as well, if you've got a brand new tow bar, what we need to be doing is we are sanding down the tow ball, all right, getting some bare metal on there. We don't want any paint on there. Again, for the same reason, we want some friction to stop the caravan snaking when we are travelling. Front locker here depicted with our LPG sticker. This is where we must keep our gas. All right, so we've got 2 cradles for our gas there. When we're traveling, we must make sure A, our bottles are strapped in, and B, that they are turned off when we are traveling. Very, very important. Okay, so fully strapped in and turned off. I've got my test bottle in here at the moment because I've got the van running up, so we're just testing everything in there. So it's just a screw top to screw it all the way down to turn the gas off, and to get the gas flow going, we just screw it open. It does tell you on the top of the bottle, so it's pretty simple. We've then got our gas hose coming out of our bulkhead regulator here. Okay, this turns it into the working pressure for the van. Okay, and we've got our gas hose here, or what we would call our pigtail. All right, that then goes into the side of the bottle, screws in on an opposite thread. All right, it's not lefty loosey righty tighty. We go the other way round with these. Okay, this is on a hand tight wheel, so there's no need for any spanners. Okay, there's a rubber seal in the end of that, so all we do is nip that up hand tight, and that will be sufficient enough to keep the seal for the gas. All right, so no spanners required, which makes life a little bit easier when we're changing our bottles over. In our front locker here as well, we've got our hitch cover, and also our handle winder is in here as well. All right. Okay. Now we've got obviously heating and hot water on this van. It's provided by an Aldi boiler. as we can see here, we have a flue. Okay, this says Aldi on it. That's the boiler flue for the boiler. The boiler situated just behind that inside the van underneath the seats. Reason for that, nothing you need to do with it, but what it does is it just expels the gases when we are burning it on gas, very much like you would have at home. All right, stops the gases going into your caravan. When you've got it running on gas, it will be quite warm coming out of there, so just bear that in mind, but you want to keep that free and not blocked by any way at all. We're also going to want some water coming into our van, I would assume, as well. So what we've got here is our water barrel. You'll need one of these to get you going. So you'll get an aqua roll. You'll take that to your service point on site, fill it up with water, bring it back to the van. We're then going to drop in into our pickup here for the water. This will be in your front locker. But what you want to do is drop the pickup into the bottom of the barrel first, and then plug it into the side of your van. Do it the other way around. It's quite a rigid pipe. We can end up breaking this unit here. Okay, so when you take it out from here first, lift it out. Then when you want to put it back in, you drop it into the barrel and then plug it in until it clips into place. Okay, that way we just keep it, because they're not exactly they're only clipped together in the middle there. All right, so if we do that, that's just to save that from breaking. Once you've done that, you're in a position to start turning water pumps on, things like that. We'll look at that once we get inside the van, but that's the basics of it. You want water in there, fill it up to the top, and then plug it in. From a power point of view, right, so you have a 12 volt system which runs off a Leisure battery here. Okay, you will need a Leisure battery for the van. Okay, this is just our test one here. Okay, that provides the power to the likes of our lights, water pump, fridge panel, things like that. That way that we can use the van when we're off grid, because as I say, the lights and everything will work from the 12 volt system off of that battery. The rest of it is then backed up with the gas, so the likes of our heating, hot water and fridge can then run off the gas. So we can go off grid with this caravan, no problem at all, as long as we've got a decent battery. But what we can do, as you can see, I've got a mains lead plugged into the side. Again, you'll need one of these. Okay, that will provide us with domestic power, or 240 volts coming into the caravan, and that will allow us to use our domestic plug sockets. It will allow us to use our fridge on mains and our heating and things like that without using our gas. So if you are on a site and you've got mains power, plug it into your caravan first, and then go and plug it into your post on site. What we don't want to be doing is walking around with a live end, so always plug it into the dead end first and then plug it into the live after that, and then the opposite round, of course, when you are taking it out. Also, you want to make sure you're flaking your mains lead out. Okay, if it comes on a drum and it's coiled up, right, they do draw quite a lot of current, and if they're wrapped up like that, they can get very hot, they can melt, we can have lots of problems. So flake it all the way out, don't have it in a coil, even if you want to put it underneath the van so it doesn't look untidy, but we do want to make sure it's flaked out nicely. Okay, fridge panels here, all right, fridge vents I should say, sorry. Dometic 3-bay fridge on board, uses heat in order to cool, pulls the cold air in from the bottom and the hot air comes out from the top. Now I've had that fridge running for a few days, okay, couple of days, so I know that I can feel the heat coming out of that, so we know that's working nicely. All right. Obviously, if we've got fresh water going in there, we've got our grey water needs to come out somewhere, and that comes out where we have this pipe coming out here. You'll find this pipe in your front locker. Okay, we haven't cut it down to size, but you'll cut it down to what size will work for you. 2 exits here. One is for the bathroom, one is for the kitchen. Okay, so that is the likes of our kitchen sink and our shower and our sink in the bathroom. Okay, and that will collect in some sort of waste container, generally what they call a waste master. So again, you'll need one of those as well. This is designed to go directly into these holes. It's the right size. Okay. You can buy sort of wide pieces as well, just to make it a little bit neater when it's coming into the into your waste master. Okay, but that is what they are for, and these caps just pop over the top when we're traveling. Okay, not forgetting, of course, when we are draining down and things like that, you want to keep those open just to make sure that we're allowing all the water to flow where it needs to. Here's 2 doors here. This is for our toilet. The top one here is for our flush tank. Okay, so we have a separate flush tank for the caravan. The reason for that is we tend to add a chemical to that. We don't want to be adding chemicals to our fresh water, so we're going to put in some pink chemical into there. Again, you'll need that in the shop. You'll need that, so you need to buy that from a shop. Okay, and it will tell you what to dilute, but it's just water and the pink chemical that helps things smell nice, keep everything lubricated as well, keep the pump running as it should do. Of course, then once we flush the toilet, that of course has got to go somewhere. That goes down here into our toilet cassette. All right, so it's a Thetford toilet with a Thetford toilet cassette. There is an LED indicator inside on the toilet, will tell you when it's time to empty this. Okay, nice and easy to do. All right, we pull the orange handle, pull it up, the handle up, and pull the unit out like so. All right. Then what we do is we wheel it off to our service point. We have an extendable handle on the outside here. Okay, once we get there, we extend this arm out to 90 degrees, take the cap off the end. All right, Then we have an orange button here that we press. What that does is release the air pressure inside this unit. Okay, then it makes it easier when we want to tip away the contents of the unit. All right. We then need to reprime this. Okay, so we need to put in some blue chemical. So you'll need some of that. All right, with a bit of water as well. Again, how to dilute it will be on the bottle. That will then help break everything down in there, keep everything smelling nice, and make it better when you come to empty it again next time. All right. Also, always best to be using sort of proper caravan toilet paper rather than normal stuff, because it breaks down much better, doesn't get all clogged up in there. So that's just something to bear in mind as well. Okay, around the back, we've got fittings for a bike rack. Should you wish to purchase a full bike rack, you can do. Just beware of adding weight to the back of the caravan. You need to balance that out at the front of the caravan as well. Okay, and we have space there for our number plate, so of course you will need a number plate depicting the car that you are towing with. All right. So let's go inside and have a look now and see what happens in here. When we first get in the caravan, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go and make sure all of our taps are shut. Okay, what you'll have done is you'll have left them open before. We'll talk about that as to why you'll have done that later on. But all your taps will be open. We also want to close our boiler drain valve because we want to get some water into our system. Boiler drain valve is that yellow switch there. Okay, you can see it's in the downwards position at the moment. That's how you want to put it. When you get in, it will be facing upwards. That's the upwards position. If we don't do that and we turn on the water pump, what will happen is the water will come straight to that joint there and just fall straight down to ground again. We also then want to come to our sergeant system here, and if we've turned this off, we'll need to turn it on. All right, so there's our system shutdown button there. We'll need to turn that on, and then we'll want to turn on the button for our charger and for our hot water as well if we're plugged into our mains. All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come to our panel over the top here. This is our main panel here. 3 buttons to really worry about. The main one is our power button, so we're going to want to turn the power on. We're then going to want to turn on our water pump there as well, okay? And we've also got a button here which will tell us how our levels are sitting as well in terms of our battery, all right? So we've also got a little light here that tells me that I'm plugged into mains, all right? And we have mains power heading to the van, so that's good. Then what we want to do is start purging the water system. Now under here is our boiler, okay? So we need to fill that up with water. Then we need to get the water from there going to our tap. So the first thing we're going to do is come to our tap in the kitchen. We're going to turn it on to hot, and we're going to turn the water on. I've got a steady flow of water here, but you won't, all right? Because what it's got to do is all full of air. So it's got to pull water from our aqua roll. It's got to fill up that boiler and then make its way to the tap. So you'll get a lot of coughing and sputtering. Can take a bit of time. We've got quite a big boiler there that we need to fill up, all right? And it will cough and sputter. But once you've got a nice steady flow of water like that, you can lock the tap off, and then we know we've purged the hot leg of our system. Do that in here. Also do it in your kitchen, in your bathroom and your shower. That way we're getting all the air out of the system. Even if you're not planning on using a shower, it's always good to get all the air out of it, so do it in there as well. We're then going to do exactly the same to the cold leg, all right? So we're going to do that until we get a steady flow of water. That will happen much quicker as we don't have a boiler to fill up, all right? So once that's done there, again, bathroom, shower. That way we've got all the air out of the water system and it's there, and we have water on demand when we need it. What then we're going to do is we want to then start heating that water up, or and potentially get our heating on as well. So we're going to come over to our Aldi panel here, all right? We'll go through this very quickly. There is an instruction manual. Again, this will back everything up in the caravan on how to use everything, all right? But we can go through and it tells you how to operate everything in there. So that's quite handy as well. So that's being your book pack. But anyway, we're on our home screen, I suppose, or a standby screen. All right, tells us the temperature inside the van there. Okay, it also tells us that we're plugged into main, so we have access to 240 volt power. Wake it up by pressing the menu button, and here we go, our main screen here. So this is really simple, okay? Top line is our internal temperature. We can plus and minus that by using the touch screen, okay? And set what temperature we want it to be in the van, all right? Underneath that is our water, picture of a shower, so we can either have it off like so, okay? We can fill the triangle halfway up, that is our heating it on, and it will heat the water up to, I think, roughly about 60 degrees. We can also then put it on boost. So press it again, that fills the triangle up. What that will do then is prioritise the hot water over the heating. I think it's for about 30 minutes, all right, and it will also heat the water up more. So if you had your heating on, it will cut your heating out, put all its efforts into heating the water up. If you can have a couple of back-to-back showers or something like that, it may be worth doing. And it will then revert back to its normal setting after that 30-minute period. But then we want to decide how we're going to power our boiler. Now, if I'm plugged into mains, as I am, I've got the option of having it completely off. 1 kilowatt of power, 2 kilowatts of power, or 3 kilowatts of power, depending on what power I've got access to on site. All right, if you speak to your site warden or reception, they'll tell you sort of the best settings to be using generally, but you'll soon realise if you're using 3 kilowatts of electricity, you've got your kettle on, you've got your hairdryer on, you're going to keep tripping out your switches here, okay, very much like you'd have at home, so that you know you're drawing too much current. So you may want to come turn this down to 2 kilowatts, that way you can start using everything in the van correctly. All right, I know 2 kilowatts is absolutely fine here, that'll warm the van up nicely, so just bear in mind that you can change that. If I don't have access to power, I'm off grid, I don't have access to mains power, I can run it all on the gas. Quite simply, press that button there. All right, that will light my boiler on gas. That will run my heating and my hot water purely on the gas side of things, all right? However, I'm plugged into mains now, so I'm just going to put it back to 2 kilowatts. I can also set timers, priorities, all sorts of stuff here. Again, I'm not going to go into that now, but there, I say in that instruction manual, we'll teach you how to do it. Okay, but just bear in mind there are further things you can do. Generally, when I go away though, that's just the screen I use, and it all works very, very well. Really good heating system actually. So again, temperature in the van, hot water on, off, or on boost. I'll be using electricity. I'll be using gas. If we are using electricity, how much are we using? All right, really quite simple. All right. So we've done all that. We'll just quickly talk about the consumer unit down here while we're here. So we've got a 12 volt side with our blade fuses here, so very much like a car, they're just blades, 12 volt fuses, so if you do need to change a fuse, this is where you come to do it. It tells you what they all do here, all right, so just bear in mind that's that. And then of course we've got our breakers over here as well. Again, it tells you what they all do, all right there. So this is our main RCD coming into the van, so this is the most important bit really. If you are plugged into mains and you're struggling to get anything working on mains, this is where you want to come and have a look, okay, because 9 times out of 10 it's not actually the van's issue, it's where you're plugged into. They also have breaker switches on them and obviously dodgy leads and things like that. So the thing to do is you've got a little button there with a T on it, a yellow one. What you do is you want to press that when you're plugged in. If you press that and nothing happens, this stays exactly how it is, you know you've got a problem with the power coming into your van, all right? It's not a problem with your van. What you want to be seeing is you want to press that and this needs to be dropping, okay, so it's tripping out. That way we know we've got 240 volt power coming to the unit, all right? So if you are struggling, press that. If this doesn't drop, you know that you need to go and have a look at your post or speak to your site warden. Okay, they'll be able to help you out. Underneath here, we've got a couple of other bits. We've got a water filter, we've got a water pump, we've got the brain here, really, I suppose is the way to call it, for our motor mover there as well. All right, and that's our battery box and everything sitting behind there as well. We'll put this back together now. I'll just had that on so we can see what we were doing underneath there. Obviously this front makes into a bed that we know, okay, so let's just quickly just run through that very quickly. Easily done with one hand, that. Right, so we pull our slats out from here, okay. All right, and then what we do is we use the back sides of these cushions to sleep on. These ones fill in the middle, okay, either side. Also, I turn these ones over so we're sleeping on that side as well. But you can see we've got a slight bolster here. You want to have that bolster over the other side, okay, that way that you don't have a bump in the middle of the bed and you can sleep and have a nice flat night's sleep, which is quite important. And then in the morning, really simple to put away. All right, there we go. Let's go around the van now and just check that we know what everything's doing. All right, we've got a 240 volt power socket here. Again, is only usable when we're plugged into mains. 12 volt socket there, and also a TV aerial socket there as well. We've got some more storage underneath there. Individual reading lights, okay, which are individually switchable, okay, and mover bound, so that's nice and simple. Okay, just open everything up, make sure we're not missing anything. We've got windows, okay, anything that opens will have a fly screen like so, and they will also all have a blackout blind, which works on a kind of a ratchet system, so we can black the cabin out at night. To open and close the windows, we've got 2 different types of window in this one. All right, this one here is what we call a click-clack window. I'll just quickly show you that. So press the buttons in the middle here to open these locks up. And then what we do is we push the window open slowly and we wait and listen for a click. And then once you hear the click, you can drop the window back onto the click, if that makes sense. There we go. All right, and that will hold it open. And then to shut it, we just take the weight off it and it will come back down again. Okay, we do have a breather setting for these windows as well, so you can lock it in this slightly open position to keep some airflow going around. Again, that's fine if you're on site, but if you're leaving it for any period of time, I probably wouldn't recommend that. The other windows work on a kind of a screw fitting, I suppose is the easiest way to describe it. So we open those, okay, open the window, and then you have this screw here, screw it up either side, and that will hold it out into the position that you want it to do. Again, blinds, fly screens and blinds on all the windows. Two 240 volt sockets here, okay, and we've also got our coffee table that pulls out here as well. This one doesn't have a fly screen because it doesn't open, but it does have a blind, okay, so that's that. And we have a nice light fitting over top of here with the light switch there, and then our lighters are also switched on from here as well. All right. Stereo is in here, okay, speakers are in the ceiling there. Really simple to use. I'm not going to teach you how to use a car radio really, but the on off button is the source button, which is just this one here, okay. And we have a CD player, we have an aux in, okay, as well, so we can plug our phone into it if we wish to as well. So that's the on off button, volume button, and the source button toggles between the different actions, so we can have CD, aux, AM, FM, okay, so really quite simple, but I'll turn that off for now. Okay, extendable worktop here, that flicks up, all right, like so, and then to undo them, we just press these, press the buttons underneath, that drops them, and then we can put the whole thing down. But again, you do need 2 hands for that, so I'll just do that quickly, and that will lock down into place. Right, let's talk about our kitchen then. A few things to talk about. All right, we've got a light switch here as well, which does all the lights in the kitchen. All right, we've got another light underneath here with an individual switch as well. Nothing to really talk about in there or in here, but what we do have is our solar panel regulator in here. Now what I did say was that the battery didn't come with this one, you'd need one. Actually, we will leave the battery on this purely because we've got a solar panel, so I can't leave 2 live feeds in the battery box. All right, so that'll stay on, but that's just a regulator for it, okay. So that'll be trickle charging your battery while you are while the sun's out, basically, simple as that. Microwave, again, won't teach you to use a microwave. One thing I will say is when you're traveling, please do take your microwave plate out. I'm going to put it in here, all right, so when you pick your van up, that's where you'll find it, all right. The only reason I say that is the amount of time we see these smashed on the floor, or we see dented worktops where they've come out, so good practice to take that out. All right, again, the same with the hobs. We want to be leaving our glass down when we're traveling. These do bounce around quite a lot when we're traveling, okay, so just bear that in mind. We've talked about the tap. All right, so it's a mixer tap, got hot one side, cold the other. Let's say we've had this running, so that should be nice and hot, yeah, to the point where I can't actually touch that. So do bear in mind it gets really hot, but we can mix that with some cold and that'll make it slightly bearable. All right, our hob, okay, 3 gas burners, 1 electric burner, okay, so we'll just check everything's working. If we put a bit of water on there, we'll turn that one on. Okay, so this one, you can see what does what. All right, it's just like a normal hob really. So I'll put that one on, that should evaporate that pretty quickly. And then the gas ones, we have the igniter in the middle, and we all know how to do that. We hold them down, okay, and light, and there we go. And it's the same for all of them. All right, same for the grill, okay, and same for the oven as well. Let's just check that oven's working okay. There we go, that's all lit in there, so we're happy with that. That's evaporating off nicely there, so we can see that that's working, so we've got no problems with that. Good. So that's all working nicely. And again, then what you want, obviously making sure that you're turning these all off. As here, we've got gas and we've got electric, especially if you're putting the glass down, because otherwise that could get really hot and that's going to shatter. All right, so just bear that in mind as well. Lots of drawers and cupboards. Down in this one here, we have our pantry. We have our draining board and chopping board which sit there as well, that goes on the sink, but we also have our gas isolator switches here as well, so if you want to isolate any of the appliances here, that's where you come to do it. Shouldn't need to, but it's always nice to know if we do need to. Okay, fridge, domestic 3-way fridge, works on 240 volt when we're plugged into mains as we are now. It will work on gas if we're wild camping or we don't have 240 volt. Okay, it will also work on a 12 volt system from our car when we're driving to maintain the temperature in the fridge. Won't chill it down, bear that in mind. Okay, so but it will maintain that temperature in the fridge while you're driving, so you might want to chill it down first before you go anywhere if you want to travel long distance with anything in the fridge and keep it cool. All right, so anyway, you can see on off switch here. Okay, at the moment we are plugged into mains, so and that's what's powering the fridge. That's why that's illuminated. If we want to change it over to gas, press the gas button twice. That will then light the fridge on gas. You'll hear it go click 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 click. All right, then it will fire up. And then if you want to switch it over to the car mode, okay, that's alarming at me because I've got a tow vehicle at the minute, so I'll put that back to electric. We can also change the temperature in the fridge, okay, by using this button here. I would just say, just from experience really, not having it all the way up to full, it seems to work better just somewhere in the middle. I'm not really sure why, but most fridges are like that. That's just what the guys tell me in the workshops as well anyway. So if you leave it just you know, somewhere in the middle like we have it there, you'll find it will work much better, especially when you're switching between the different modes. So just a little tip there really. Inside the fridge, okay, that's all nice, and that's been on nice and cold in there. Freezer section's freezing in there. You can see that all frozen on the back there, so we know that's all working lovely and that is nice and cold. We have a breather section on here as well, so you got a little, we can push that out. That way when we're leaving the fridge for a period of time, we don't want it to smell, we can lock it in a slightly open position. All right. Skylights, right, so we've got a couple of different types of skylight in here. Again, they all have blinds and they all have fly screens. This one is kind of like a dome which you can move all around, so we squeeze the handle and push up one side, that's push that side up, or we can do the other side, okay, or you can push them both together and do that, or the whole thing will go up. I think the idea is for when you're cooking, and then if you want the wind coming in or not, so just that's what that's for. This skylight's slightly different, again, blinds and fly screens, but you press the button, pull it back, and that will open it. Again, we have a ratchet kind of system here as well, so we don't have to have it all the way open. Just bear in mind that when you're travelling or you're leaving or you think it's going to rain and you're going out for the day, shut all your skylights, otherwise you'll end up with a bit of a swimming pool in your van. And they do, if you have it open when you're travelling and you see it a lot, you can lose your skylight, which we don't want to happen. Right, let's talk about the toilet from the inside. I've got a Thetford toilet here. All right, use it in exactly the normal way as you use any other toilet, to be honest with you. Flush is on the top here. All right, so you can see that if you press that there, the flush comes down. All right, so then to allow everything to fall into the cassette, we have a lever underneath here. So we pull that all the way off to one side. As you can see, that opens the gate, everything drops down into the cassette, and then we lock it off all the way over. Always making sure we're pushing that all the way over, because that creates our seal. Also, if that's not all the way over, when you come to remove your cassette, you won't be able to. So if you're struggling to remove it, come in here. The reason being is that won't be all the way over. Once your cassette's full, it will illuminate here with a light here, so you'll need to go and empty your toilet cassette. Don't ignore that, otherwise you end up with a bit of a mess in that compartment, and that's not fun for anybody. Carpets are in here. Also is our aerial. Okay, this is a directional TV aerial. It's in the downwards position at the moment. We undo the locking nut, push it up, that raises it up and above the van. Okay, that gives us a better signal. All right, we can use this handle here, that will change the plane of the aerial to try and get a better signal. Okay, but not forgetting, of course, when we finished, pull it down, lock it back up. That way we're not taking out trees and stuff when we're driving. All right. The signal from that comes through our Vision Plus aerial here, or booster I should say, amplifier. It's got an on-off switch on the top there, okay, and it also got a gain on there as well. To be honest with you, I tend to just leave it on maximum and leave it on. It will turn on and off with your master switch for your 12-volt system, okay, so just leave that there. Audi fluid here, okay, so we've got an Audi system on board. All right, so this is it's a wet central heating system, so this is just the header tank for it, okay, so nothing you really need to do with it. Every now and again the fluid will need changing, bear that in mind as well, but ask if you've got any further questions about that. But yeah, this will fluctuate between maximum minimum as the heating is on or off or whatever it is, so don't, if it moves around, that's absolutely fine. It is supposed to do that. Okay, mixer tap here, we know how that all works, all right, and there's your little plug in there as well. Shower, we know how a shower works, okay. The shower door is pinned back at the moment, okay, we have a little catch there we open, and that will shut the door, okay, how we want it. Dining table is in there. It's a freestanding table that we put up in the middle there we want to eat, or put it on the outside or whatever we want to do. The only other things are carbon monoxide alarm to cover your ears, and smoke alarm. Okay, I think that needs a new battery. Let's do that now. Okay, that's better. So you'll definitely know if there's a fire. Right. Anyway, what we'll do now, let's we'll say we've been on holiday, we've had a nice time, so let's start shutting the van down. Okay, I'm going to turn my fridge off because I'm not going to be towing anywhere. You may leave it on. That's on a separate panel system. Okay, so when you turn your mains panel off, your fridge won't. All right, so just bear that in mind. So you'll need to be turning that off as well. Once we've done that, we then want to start draining the van down. So we find our boiler drain valve. We knew about that before, where that is. So that's under here, the yellow switch. So we're going to open this up and then open that. We can hear the water starting to drain to ground underneath. That's good. Then what we're going to do is going to open our taps. We're going to leave them open. The reason for that is that allows the air to go through the system, and also if we do have freezing weather, there's water stuck in the system, it's got somewhere to go, all right, because water expands when it freezes. Okay, so just it's always good practice, leave all of your taps open. Okay, that's in here, in the bathroom, in the shower. Okay, that way we can't go wrong, because otherwise we'll end up with damaged taps, damaged micro switches, damaged plumbing, and the next time you come to plumb your van up, you're going to end up with water coming out somewhere. So that's why we do that. All right. Okay, right, now that's done, what we'll do is start taking things apart on the outside of the van. So I'm going to come turn my gas bottle off. In fact, actually, I'm going to this being my test bottle, I'm going to take it off. All right, again, don't forget this is on an opposite thread. And then I'm going to unstrap it. And she comes. There we go. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to disconnect your acro roll, okay, by undoing that, pulling it out, give it a little wheel, give that a good old shake off. I'm going to put that in your front locker so that you know where to find that. Okay, then you want to stow your acro roll, stow your waste master, okay, put it to wherever you're going to put it. Okay, some people use the shower for those. To stop them rolling around the van, but you'll come up with your own thing, I'm sure. Okay, you can see where the water's draining out from our boiler down there, so we're happy with that. That's good. Then what we're going to do is disconnect our mains. Now my colleague's just given me a wave to say he's taking it out of the live end for me. That way I can pull it out of here. Okay, that way I'm not walking around with a live cable in my hand. Okay. And that's pretty much that. So then what we'll do is we'll get the legs up, just have a quick look at the motor mover, and then we're about done. Right, so that's all the legs up, so let's say we'll have a quick look at the motor mover. You'll need three things. You need the key, you need the remote, and you need the spanner, the engaging tool, all right? So let's have a look at that first. We're going to put these rollers onto the wheel, okay? So the way we do that is we use this. That goes on. And then we push using both hands, keeping our hands out of the way as we get a clunk. There we go. That should put it on both sides as well, but we always double check. Then we're going to grab our isolator key and our remote, and we're going to come around to this side. We're going to check it's engaged, which it is. No, it's not. You have to do it on either side on this van. Okay, some you do, some you don't. So that goes on there. We need our, there we go, need one of these, and put it on both sides, otherwise we'll just be spinning around in a circle. There we go. So we've put our key in here, we've turned that on. That's allowing the power from the battery to go to the motor mover. We're then going to get our remote control. Once we engage the mover on both sides, we're in a position to remove our handbrake, okay? What you don't want to do is remove your handbrake before you've engaged the mover, or you'll be chasing your caravan down the hill when you do it. So that's now being held on the motor mover, all right? So that's important. Then turn the unit on, okay? We press the two green buttons together. Okay, and we wait till we've got one light in the middle there. There we go. I'm then going to turn this over and you'll see we actually have the shape of a caravan here. So that tells me which way the caravan's going to go. So if I press forwards, there you go, the caravan will move forwards, and again backwards, left, right, and so on and so forth. You can be pretty precise with it. It'll pretty much turn on its own axis, okay? But that is how that operates. Again, we can go through that with you when you pick up, it's not a problem. Then we want to do the opposite. Okay, so first things first, handbrake's always the next thing to go on. Again, because when we release that mover and we're on a slope, it's going to go away from us, okay? So we don't want that to happen. We then go the opposite way with this, just to release that off of the wheel. There's one. And we might as well take our key out while we're here. And then we'll release the other one as well. And what I'll do, leave this all in the doorway for you, because that's the first thing you generally need when you get somewhere. So that's where you're going to find all that. The only other thing to do is turn off our handset, just press one of the green buttons, and there we go. Okay, so that's how that all operates. Hope that makes sense. Again, we're on the phone, all backed up in the handbooks, and enjoy your new caravan. Many thanks.